Unsubbed. Are you unsubbed? Hey, subscribe, will you? Welcome back to another plugin development tutorial video here. And guess what? It's time to make that custom build page that we were talking about last time, where it's going to display the video here. As you recall, we were sending, if you watched the last one, we have our videos laid out in a grid here. Maximize of 4. I can actually go to the back end and change that because we already made it so that I can offset that in the video settings. So let's go to the settings page. And let's display 6 videos. And I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change the number of videos to import from our importer call page to 6 right here. This is on our import call where it actually grabs the JSON request. And now what I want to do is go back to the importer. Let's delete everything in the database. And let's re-import 6 videos. And now back on the front here, we should have 6 in the layout. Yes, much better. So, and remember what I said? They're actually ascending because this Roadkill Garage is the newest. I know because I've already watched this Engine Masters, and I haven't watched this Supercharged Jeep yet, at least this one. And so anyway, but here we are with 6. And you see how easy that was? It's because we've done so much work to get to this point about our delete and our import and our renew and our settings. It's just totally streamlined now. But now we have these, and remember, they're automatically building that vid display to go internally in our site to the watch page. So now it's going to go to the watch page, but there's nothing here. So let's go ahead and do what I said last time, which is let's go ahead and build another shortcode with another public function shortcode that's just to output a video. And I'll show you why that makes a lot of sense. So in this is our admin. We don't need that at the moment. So over here, if we go to our includes, and then we go to just the name of our plugin, we'll have a shortcode for our plugin. And this one we're going to say grid display. And in this next shortcode, we're going to copy this first one because it's so much easier than writing it. And we're going to say not WP vids Y out. We're going to call this WP10 Y display box. And why am I calling it that? Because I can call it pretty much whatever I want. And over here we're going to say WP10 display box. All right, and we're going to over here we're going to say display the requested video. All right, so now we have a new shortcode. And we're going to take the actual function of the shortcode itself, go to our public, since remember, we're saving this in the public, we're calling to the public class for this, not the admin class. Remember, you have 2 folders, you have your public class and your admin class. We're actually doing the shortcodes to the public file. That's where this shortcode is. So what we're going to do is we're going to say public function display box, and now we have a new function. And this function is going to be for outputting or displaying a big video box. Display requested video in a large box. Perfect. So here's the thing. We are sending a get variable to this plugin right here. And what we need to do is just check for isSet like we did above. So let's start by saying check for video set. Check for is set, and we're going to go for the get variable. And what do we call it? Vid, right? Isn't that all we called it? Yep. See how we called that first variable vid? So we need to check if vid is set. If vid is set, we're set. So what we're going to do is we're going to, I want to give us a little space down there and a little space up here. So if vid is set, let's create a variable. And actually, remember what I said last time was I want to create or initialize the variable anyway. Set vid variable, and what I want it to do is equal nothing, and I'll show you why that matters. So let's just call this the vid, and right now I want to make it equal nothing. So in this case, if it is set, what do you think we do? Yep, you guessed it. All we do is make it equal to the vid. And what's that going to give us? If you remember from our previous courses where I quickly did a 10-minute video, I think it was 10 minutes, but don't hold me to it because I keep going over, on what vid will equal. It will equal not the name vid, but what's after the equals. So it's going to equal this right here. So now we have that in a variable called the vid. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check if the vid is equal to something. If, see, watch this. If the vid equals nothing, remember it's two equals in PHP, or it will make it equal to that. If it equals nothing, we could display, and actually, remember what I said about H1, or you can actually do it like this if you want. And it's kind of a slick way to do it. Now it's just going to display what's between here. So in this case, I'm just going to go for an H1, and I could use Embed this way. See that? We can give them a no video to display. We could also give them like, hey, here's look at the video you looked for isn't found. How about look at some of these requested videos, or or have a look at our merchandise page, or blah 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 blah. There's so many things you can do here. This basically is a huge area for you to capitalize on people who are going to look for a video that no longer exists or something like that. But that's it. We're just going to say no video to display, right? Okay. Well, now we can say else in all other cases. Right? In all other cases, here's what I want you to do. Display the video in a box. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to close that out, and then we're going to reopen the PHP like I keep telling you, and now we have a whole area where we can display whatever we want. And we do have the video ID, so we can easily do this. You can go to any YouTube video. In this case, I'm just on the Roadkill again, cheap truck challenge, and you can go to Share, Embed, and you can copy this code right here. You can say show player controls or don't show player controls. I'm going to show the player controls, and I'm going to grab this right here. And as you can see, if we come back here and we pop this in here, we now have a YouTube embed iframe for this video. Another thing is if we wanted to get the title for this video, or we wanted to display other information on this video, we could easily do a get post situation in which we gather this post from the database. We could search for the post that contains this meta video ID, and then gather all of its other, get the ID of that post, and then gather all of its other data. I'm not going to do that this exact moment. Another way you could also make it easier on yourself is in the page that displays, or in the code right here that sent in the other function that actually displays the grid, you could actually do vid equals, and then you can attach any other get variables you want. So you could say ID, and you could give it the post's ID. Okay, not the ID of the video, but the physical post in your WordPress. And then when you want to call the title or the metas, you'd have that post ID. You understand what I'm saying? So, and in fact, I might even just show you here in a minute so you can see. So you have vid ID, then you'd have and post ID equals. And then it would be just the post ID. So, and we could easily get that from our importer call while we're deleting the post, right? We get our post ID right here. We do it just like this. I don't know why I don't know why I don't just show it to you. So we could say and OID, just call it something like that, equals, okay? And then do some more concatenation and then reopen that. Actually, I might have glitched that out. Let's see. Okay. And then right here, each post ID. Okay. Now we're sending the OID with it. And so if we go back over here and we do a refresh, you're going to see that now it contains the OID, see 357, 356, 355, 352, 353, 354. See, so now if we want to gather the metadata, I just did it so I could just show you. So now if we want to gather the metadata down here, like we could say, I want to show the H1. We're going to do this too. It's easier. I can just say get it from post ID number, okay, because it's so much easier to get meta and then give it, assign it the post ID, give it the key, and then it can go right to it in the database versus having to search and all that. All right, but right here, what you're going to see is, you see the embed and you see this part right here. Aha, see what that is, a video ID? Right, well what can we do here? We can actually open our PHP right here, right? And we can say echo. What do you think we're going to echo? This is back in our display box function. We set the vid, right? Easy enough, right? So what we need to do is grab that actual shortcode, which is right here. Back in our test, it's the WP10 display box. Remember, we added that new shortcode at the beginning of this video. Sorry if I'm jumping around in files a little bit. I'm really not trying to, but... Okay, so back over here on our vid page, I'm just going to add the shortcode. Actually, I don't want to go to edit page. I want to just turn on the builder. I want to pull in a text box. And then I want to add my shortcode, and I have to put square brackets around it. Okay, now it's just say loading shortcode, and it does. And then if we exit it, wow, look at that. See that? So now we have a video being called in real time. And if I play it, it's going to pull right from YouTube. But guess what? I'm not using any API at all. So I'm just grabbing it from my internal database and appending everything into an embed. So let's go ahead and now click any of these. Let's do the Camaro. Look at that. We can make this autoplay, whatever we want to do. There's all the features for the embed. There's lots of embed controls here, like in the URL you can set. If you go to YouTube and research it, you can see, like, you can set all kinds of stuff like autoplay. See, look, autoplay. There's all kinds of stuff you can set. You just have to go look at the embed code for YouTube. There's a ton of stuff you can do, like start at and all that kind of stuff. But you see what we just did? So we checked to see. Now what happens if there's no vid? Look at that. Remember what we wrote there? No video to display. But here you can do anything you want. You could redirect them. There's so much stuff you could do here. You could say, remember, how about check out our merge, or check out our most recent video, and do most recent video below, or something like that. But in the event that the user clicks something, clicks a video, see, we get that video. Okay, but we have this OID. Remember, I just sent that? Now, if we wanted to create a title. But another thing is, I didn't really style this at all. And like I keep telling you, I'm using Themify. If you're not using Themify, go get Themify. or you can do this all in the back-end styling as well. But in this particular box, I'm going to go ahead and just center it on the font. So now it's centered. And then I'm just going to leave it right there because I don't need to do anything more special than that. Alright, so now we have an editable shortcode where we can actually, remember, display anything we want. So in this case now what we're going to do is we're going to get the custom post meta for the title. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're actually going to echo, or we're not in PHP anymore, sorry about that. We have to actually stick inside that upper PHP tab right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to echo a get post meta. Okay, and here's what it needs. It's going to ask you for a few different things. And the first thing is it wants the post ID. Well, we passed that, didn't we? And we called it OID, but we have to gather it up here. So set the variable ID. Let's call it post ID equal to nothing. And we could also do a check to say, like, if is set, the post ID is set, but the meta isn't, because this would glitch, right, if it tries to find it and it's not set. So what we would probably do is we would say if the vid ID is set, but the post ID is not set, it would actually skip this line. So right here we do another if that says if the post ID is empty, skip this line, and it wouldn't output a title. And that would save you from any errors that would come in. But because it's just me using this and it's not anybody else at the moment, I'm not going to worry about that. But that's just error checking. Okay, so we have an ID here. We're going to gather it right here, actually, because we know if there's a vid ID, based on how our stuff's getting clicked, it's going to have a OID. So we're going to say get, and you probably guessed this one too, OID, because we sent that as another variable, right? So the post ID is post's ID for the meta, right? Right, okay. And instead of an echo, what I might actually do, or yeah, I'm just going to do an echo. Well, I kind of want to make it an H1 or something. Yeah, you know what I might do is just save this in a variable. Yeah, that's better. So the key what would the key be for the title? Well, remember, if we keep going back to our import call page, we have all of our keys right here. It's the Y title. So we want Y title, and then single, we want to be true. That means we don't want it returned as an array. We want it just returned as the physical text itself. So now we have a title, but it's not being displayed. So right here, we're going to say echo. And we could actually do it down in the HTML below. What I'd probably do is do that just to keep it consistent. So let's run Embed. And let's open up a PHP tag right here. Now we're going to run an echo. And we're going to say title. And now it should display the title of the video that we are wanting to watch. Oh yeah, there's an extra one in there. Okay, let's click the Camaro again. Aha, look at that. And that's way too big, by the way. I really don't want it as an H1. Let's go for like an H3. Remember, you can customize this code however you see fit. This is just me doing it the way I want to do it. And just to kind of give you an idea. Okay, so look at that. This is all part of our plugin. So now we've created, let's go for the dirt moments, top 10 dirt moments. See that? So now we can gather any information we want under our keys because we have the post ID. We're passing it as the OID from our videos page. So it's easy for us to gather anything we want. Now remember, I'm doing this as get variables. You can also do this as post variables as well. But it's easier in our particular case just to run everything as get. So that's pretty simple, right? We created another shortcode in our, let me just redo these side folders so you can see. In our includes and our test, we added the shortcode, which I keep forgetting to tell people there's a GitHub for this, and I actually need to display it at the beginning of the videos. But there is a new GitHub for this in the description for all this code. And I added a new shortcode for the display box, and then I added it to my public-facing file. So if we go to public, it's right here. It's my public class. And then down towards the bottom, I added it right after our display class, which is our grid display, and I added it right here. And it's a new display box function, and this is it. All I did was grab the embed code from YouTube itself, put it right in, and then just output the video that gets passed. And then for the post title, just get post meta, the ID, and the Y title. And for the post meta, we can literally grab anything you desire from right here. Images, description, channel ID, whatever. Like we could put the description underneath it. We could actually make it side by side and put the description over here. Anything you want, really. And I probably would update the user by showing them inside of the settings. I'd probably allow them to choose, like an option. Do you want this displayed in sight, or do you want this to be displayed out of sight? Do you want this to go to YouTube on a click, or do you want it to stay in sight? And all that would do is in here, in the shortcode, it would check to see what the user had selected as their option, and then it would just build the output differently. You understand what I'm saying? It would just do an if check and say, if user wants it in sight, build it like this. Build it exactly like this. If user wants it out of sight, and actually we do it right here on the grid. If user wants it in sight, do a loop and set all of them to SEO local watch and do it in sight. If they want to go out of sight, change this href right here to the YouTube vid and send them out to YouTube. So I'm just trying to show you this is actually pretty simple, and there's a lot of modification that can be done here. I'm just trying not to make these series too complicated. I don't want them extremely complicated, but at this point we have this thing pretty functional. I mean, now it's just about styling it up to make it look better. But you know, we do have these on our own site, and also we could make the pages title this. I mean, there's so much stuff we could modify and do with this custom plugin. But at this point, we have two shortcodes, right? And that's what I was saying. We'd actually say to output videos, but see, this would say for your grid, to display your video grid, use this shortcode. To display your videos on a videos page or on a watch page, you need to create a watch page and then use this shortcode on your watch page. Right, and or we could have it auto-create the watch page and all that. Like I said, there's so much more I could do, but at that, I think I'm going to wrap it up right here because this is already a pretty long video. So, but anyway, hey, if you're not subscribed, hey, subscribe, will you? And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.